Today we were right on the average high and low, which you don't see very often. Today was way above. The record's 73, so we're going to be way above that tomorrow and likely set some new records. Current temperatures here at the bottom of the hour, we're still in the 60s, and now we're well past sunset by over an hour, so you know it's going to stay mild out there tonight, and temperatures are only going to get down maybe to 40 degrees for a morning low. Pretty warm. I think most areas will be in the upper 40s to near 50, so it will be a very warm start to your Christmas Eve, which means we kickstart the warming for the day. Now on the West Coast, this is where the travel issues are and where there's major weather going on. A major storm is going to affect Southern California. So areas around Los Angeles, you see kind of the fuchsia shade there, the pink, that is an extreme flood risk. And this is primarily for two reasons. One, it's a lot of rain for the LA area, Southern California, but there's also heavy burn scars in these areas. So the runoff of water from the mountainous areas will cause mudslides and a lot of flooding. So this is going to be a significant storm for the Los Angeles area, and that weather will continue into Christmas Day. So LAX probably going to have some rough go with the rain there. For us, it's really mild weather. I mean, these are the lows tonight, upper 40s, near 50. So by far maybe the warmest night we've seen in a while, and this is actually closer to where we should be for our average high temperature. Tomorrow, southwest wind early. It should shift to the northeast by the evening, but look at those temperatures, mid to upper 70s. A few spots in South Carolina, I won't be shocked if we get close to 80 degrees at some point tomorrow. If you're traveling on Christmas Eve, you see the West Coast, that's where the mess is. East Coast, some big improvement, kind of windy in Boston, but temperatures for the most part, I think that's the story. It's not going to feel like Christmas at all. And hopefully the air conditioning works in your house or your church, because with all those people inside, I would not be putting the sweaters on and cranking the heat up. Tomorrow will be a warm one, so will Christmas Day. That front is to the north, so that's a very warm pocket of air over the Carolinas. But Friday's interesting. This front slides to the south, and we actually have a backdoor front, so the wind shifts to the northeast, and look at all those clouds. I think some areas could be in the 50s if we're lucky, maybe 40s for highs on Friday. So it could be a pretty dramatic change from Christmas to Friday. But then by Saturday, that front moves back north as a warm front. Now, what are the warmest Christmas days on record? 1955, 77. Back in 2015, it was 74. And you go back 4 years to 2021, it was 71. But those are the only six times total that we've been 70 or higher on Christmas Day, which obviously is more than it snowed on Christmas Day. This year, we're looking at temperatures possibly in the mid-70s. I'm going with a forecast high of 75, which would make it the second warmest on record. Not the record high, but the second warmest Christmas on record. The average for the date is 53 degrees. Just looking back at the last 5 years, if you're curious what it looked like, last year was about as normal as it gets. Morning low near freezing, afternoon high in the mid-50s. 2 years ago, pretty mild, 50 in the morning, but 61. Everyone remembers that one, 2022. Remember that, how cold it was? That was not only cold Christmas Day, but Christmas night. We actually had some power grid issues because everyone was using so much power. The year before was a very warm one, 71. And then 2020, I think many people remember that. That was the COVID Christmas, 22 in the morning, 41 in the afternoon. This week, near record heat. Look at these temperatures. Tomorrow will easily break the record, I think. 73, I think that looks easy to break. Thursday, definitely probably not going to break the record. On Friday, for sure. And then Saturday, we could jump back in the mid-70s. If that's the case, that record is only 72. That looks like the easiest record of all of them to break, probably tomorrow and again on Saturday. Now, you see the ridge. That looks like a summer pattern, but look at this. Dip in the jet stream up in Canada starts to slide into the northeast. Really cold pocket of air for early next week. Secondary surge comes down as we go into late week. So it's a cold pattern. This is the below zero readings up in Canada. I was just looking, Yukon Territory, Northwest Territory, interior parts of Alaska, 50 to 60 degrees below zero. So there's cold air up there, and it's going to start moving. You could see this weekend, it starts creeping to the south. So on Saturday, and when you displace cold air, you actually displace the warm air as well. That's why it's such a big warm up ahead of this cold blast. But this cold blast dives into the Great Lakes, the Northeast, Sunday into Monday, and affects all of the East Coast for next Tuesday. So a week from today, we'll be talking about the complete opposite of what I'm talking about today, which is warm temperatures, April-like conditions. It'll feel not only like January, but about 10 degrees below the coldest temperatures in January, because high temperatures will struggle to get above 40 degrees. And so when you look at the 6 to 10 day outlook, you start seeing some of these temperatures For this time of year, remember the time frame here is going into early January where the average high is dropping down to about 51, 52, about the coldest it gets. So being below average means you're at least in the 40s for afternoon highs, morning lows close to the freezing mark, if not below. The warmer temperatures move out west. So get ready for a dramatic change. And as warm as this week is going to be, next week won't be equally as cold, but it'll feel much colder because of the warm air we have this week. This week we're like 20 to 25, maybe 30 degrees above average. Next week's 10 to 15, which is pretty dramatic, but compared to normal, not as bad. So there's no record lows coming, even though we have record highs this week. The record highs are definitely much more abnormal for this time of year because they're only in the low to mid 70s, whereas the record lows are like in the single digits and below zero this time of year. So it's really tough to see records this time of year unless you have snowpack. 75 tomorrow and Christmas Day. Friday, 62 might be too warm, honestly. We might be in the 40s and 50s, and then warming back up ahead of the front on Saturday, and then here comes the bottom dropping out going into next week. I showed this yesterday. It's a crazy stat, but Labor Day was 74, Halloween was 65, Christmas Day is 75. Been crazy to tell you that Christmas would have been the warmest of those three holidays. I looked back at Easter, by the way. It was really warm this past Easter. It was on April 20th. It was 84 degrees. That was hot by even April standards. But you see our low temperatures. Look how high they are. I mean, that's closer to our average high for this time of year. But next week, there's the dip, and that's when the cold air returns. So be ready. It's on the way. But for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, got sweaters. Don't want to wear those. T-shirts, shorts. Hey, it's a great time to get outside with the toys, at least, if they're not winter sports. The bikes,